Good morning, happy Monday. Welcome to the Pitch Rock Chronicles. I'm Uncle Taz. I'm here with my bros, Donald and Rubino. And I got to tell you, it has been probably one of our craziest all seasons ever. Baseball wise, personal wise, like we have had, I am so ready for the regular season. It has been, we've been pretty much, I think, our busiest off season as far as with the show and what's going on, behind the scenes.
I wish the
And
Yankees were
we are,
busier.
but we juggled it all. We figured it all out. We've done our best. We are ready for the regular season, but are the Yankees ready for the regular season? And as we wait for the 26-man roster to completely take shape, we've seen a couple of announcements already been released on who will be making the trip to New York. And I want to start with one guy in particular, and that's Escara. When you look at his journey of what he went through, and you watch the video, if you're on social media, you saw the clips of him sitting with Bone on the phone with his mom, with his grandmother on the other line. It's a very humbling experience when you finally get to say, all right, my dream came true. And he's ready to go. And congratulations to JC Escara. He made the big league club. He is our backup catcher with Wells, who is absolutely tearing the cover off the ball as a leadoff hitter. So we're going to be getting into a lot of the players that we know are already on the roster and some predictions of who we think is going to finish off the roster. Because there's still a lot of holes to be, questions as far as filling out the bullpen. In my opinion, I think that's where they still have some question marks looming over others. But we already heard also that Clark Schmidt is going to be starting the season on the IL. We said this was probably the best course of action, not to rush him back. But to stick with Escara, I'm so happy for the kid. I really am. I think it was the right move. He was outstanding this spring. Donald, what is your take on Escara making the roster?
No, he deserves it. He won the award for the best spring training performer. So that was a cool story because obviously all he's been through in his personal life, he was just trying to make ends meet and fight his way to remain a big leaguer. It's a kind of a cool story, man. It's maybe something that they're going to make a Lifetime movie about. You know what I mean? Where, about a guy that is about to quit baseball, and he's doing Uber driving on the side, this, that, and the other, and he's just trying to decide, and he's stuck at it, and then he comes into spring training and has this phenomenal spring, man, where he's just absolutely raking, and he wins the job to be the backup catcher for the New York Yankees. Those are the kind of storybook things that don't really happen in other sports. You know what I'm saying? This is a real storybook kind of a thing. And that's what makes baseball kind of special, man. That's why they make movies about baseball and this, that, and the other, because there's something about this sport where even in modern day, like 2025, with analytics coming out of your ears, you still have these little special stories, these really cool moments, and that's something that Escara and his family must be very, very proud about. That. So, congratulations to him, and also want to take this opportunity to send my condolences to the Gardner family for that tragic loss of their son. Our love and prayers to the Gardner family.
Yeah, definitely. The news on Gardner, it's one of those, you hear the news and you're like, all right, when do you bring this up? Is there, do you want to start off the show with bad news? Do you want to end the show with bad news? There is no right time, but yeah, no. As a father, I was like, I was devastated. I can't imagine what he's going through.
Yeah, I mean, I want to congratulate Escara, but it sucks because Gardner was such a good player for us, and obviously we haven't heard much about him in the last few years. But the kid was 14 years old, man. Like it's I don't want to spend obviously too much time on a tragic thing like that because you don't really know all the details, and I don't want to assume anything. You just heard about an illness, and it's heartbreaking. Um, I feel terrible for Guardy and his family. Just obviously, I wish there was anything that we could do, but we're just fans of the team, so all we can really do is offer our condolences and just hope that they're able to recover from it quickly. It's going to be difficult for them. Losing a son, I don't even know what that feels like, especially when at 14 years old, the kid barely was able to experience life. So it's just a terrible, terrible moment. So again, on behalf of us here as fans of this team and fans of Gardner, just the best wishes and whatever good vibes we can try to send towards the Gardner family. I know it's not much, but hopefully he knows and the family knows that the Yankees universe is thinking about them. That's really all we can do at this point. So may he rest in peace. It's tragic. It really is tragic.
Well said. Well said.
As for Escara, to go from tragedy to kind of an uplifting moment, it's a great moment for him. Who would have thought? Uber driver to backup catcher at Major League Baseball. So, congratulations to him. I'm happy for him. He had a really, really good spring. There are some rumors I'm just seeing now that the chat's bringing it up to change up. Apparently, according to Max Manus, the Yankees are close to signing Ryan Yarbrough, a left-handed pitcher. So, add a little bit depth to our bullpen. So, there's something to talk about there. But to keep it on Escara, he was fantastic this spring. Like, we can't say anything else about it. He had a really good spring. He's hitting the ball hard. He's not getting lucky with some of his hits. His catching's been really good. And Aaron Boone said it best. They're like, do you have any issues with having two lefty catchers? He said, no. I'm like, all right, the job is his. Once he said that, I'm like, the job is his. And he got it. It was a cool moment to see the videos. And, dream come true for him. And all we need him to do is just be a serviceable backup. And not too much to ask for, and he certainly earned it. So I'm excited for him, and let's see what he can do.
Yeah, no, it's another dream. Talk about dream come true. It's let's give a shout out to everybody that comes and hangs out with us every show that we do. We appreciate every single one of you. You guys are the backbone to this channel. So want to give a quick shout out. We got Sean Browning, we got Spencer hanging out with us, John the Beagle Dad, Stephen B. It's over. Lou hanging out with us, Dev Finch, what's going on? Cold Italian Pizza, one of our favorite YouTube names out there. You got NFE from the Strike Zone, and make sure you go and check out his channel and all the things he's doing. I know he's got a show later on for a pregame for spring training. We got FJ hanging out. We got Ken as always. Make sure you go check out his channel on YouTube. And then Jonathan, always bright and early. When was his? Yeah, actually, he was kind of late today. 9:19 was his first comment. So Jonathan overslept.
Slacker.
So, shout out to everybody that's hanging out with us. And if you do want to join our chat, it's very easy and it's very free. All you got to do is hit that sub button. Now, yeah, the whole story with Escara is absolutely amazing. But when you look at how the Major League, the opening day lineup is going to be looking, it's really not as bad a lineup as we thought it was going to be. As some of the question marks we had were ironing out. Yeah, Stephen, but yeah, you were first, Steve. Jonathan's usually hit like 6 a.m. He wakes up in the middle of the night just to put a comment in. But when you're looking at all the positions, in no particular order for the lineup, but when you're looking at your starting nine, Goldschmidt, Jazz, Cabrera, Volpe, Wells, Judge, Dominguez, Bellinger, Rice or Grisham at DH, and Rodon's going to be taking the ball on opening day. the one guy I'm surprised I was not able to put on my roster list. Dom Smith opted out of his contract right when he was just about to actually be on DH, along with Rice. I thought that kind of struck me as odd that you know you would think he would want to stay, knowing he would probably crack, with a 95% chance he was cracking the opening day roster to
Mm.
kind of rebuild his his stock a little bit.
They weren't going to carry two lefty DHs. Brian Cashman said it himself. He would feel a lot better with another right-hander. Well, Brian, you had opportunities to do it, and you didn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Dom Smith, if he was a righty, he'd be on the team. All of a sudden, we wish we didn't have as many lefties as we do. It's like Donald said last week, they overcompensated for it. I think they actually have until tomorrow to add him to the 40-man roster, but I don't see the point because all he can really do is play first, DH, and maybe the corner outfield. But you have Grisham that can play the outfield. You have Bellinger that can play first if need be. You don't really need to have and Rice can play first as well. And the news is official, according to Robert Murray, that we did sign Yarborough. So it is official. He's going to be part of this bullpen. I really do like this move. I'll
That's a
say
good
that.
sign.
It's a very good signing because our second lefty was going to be Hedrick, who now we can stash in AAA in case of emergency. This strengthens the bullpen because Yarborough can eat innings. He had a good season last year. He was having an okay spring, and I was kind of surprised Toronto didn't add him to their bullpen. So I'm glad they didn't. Because once they cut him, I was like, hey, go get him. Go get him. And they did. I'm glad they made this last-second move because the final few spots in the bullpen were going to be Hedrick, De Los Santos, and Yoendris Gomez. Now, Gomez deserves it. De Los Santos deserves it. I'm not too sure about Hedrick. So now that we get Yarborough in the fold, the bullpen's a hell of a lot better than it was 24 hours ago.
Shall we break down the the roster that's certain, and then the remaining kind of open spots?
Yeah.
So should we start with? We'll start with catcher. So catcher's easy. Siscara and Austin Wells. So catcher's sorted. Now let's get into the infield. Rob.
Well, you got Goldschmidt at first. You've got Jazz at second. Volpe at short. Cabrera's going to play third. I think Reyes is making it. He's infield/outfield. I guess you can put Ben Rice in that category, although you can also put him in the catching category. And I think unless they make another move in the next 2 days or so, I think Peraza is going to make it simply out of necessity because they don't have any other options. You look at their 40-man roster, Pereira's already been sent down to get him at bats, which is fine. Brandon Schumach is a lefty. They're not going to put him on there. And there's really nobody else unless they make another signing. And there really is nobody else out there. Like Brandon Drury, if he didn't fracture his thumb, I thought could have been a solid pickup. But although he's already hurt, so maybe the Yankees like that. And outfield-wise, we know it's Judge, Bellinger, Grisham, and, of course, Jason Dominguez. So they're going to carry 4 outfielders. Reyes can play the outfield. Cabrera can play the outfield as well if need be. Yeah. I think that's what you're looking at. Those are the 13, unless they make a last-second move and they move Peraza.
Let's keep Peraza on the bubble. I think that's one of the.
He's the bubble guy, but everything else should be like a lock.
So we've got 12 locks, right, and then
one bubble
so far. Okay, cool. Let's get into the pitching. Tats.
Yeah, I mean, I think the starting rotation is pretty much, how I wrote it out. Is how I think the pitching order will go, just based off of spring performance. I have Rodon because we already know he's going to start opening day. Fried, we already know it's going to be game 2. Excuse me. So my 3, 4, 5 is actually Carrasco, Warren, and Stroman as my number 5 starter. And I have him at number 5 because you also need to be careful of his innings. So if you're able to, you're still appeasing him by making him a starter and not putting him in the bullpen. But your number 5 starter, as the season goes on, those are usually the ones that can get skipped here or there, depending on off days. So I think that puts the Yankees in the best spot to kind of manipulate the 140. What do you think?
Okay. And then now we get into the bullpen. So as Rob points out, Ryan Yarbrough can now add as a bullpen arm. So that's 1. obviously got Williams. That's 2, nice and easy. Obviously Weaver. That's 3. Then we get into the interesting bit. Obviously, have Tim Hill. That's 4. What do you think? Think it'll be 8 bullpen arms?
Your mic.
There we go again with this mic stuff. I don't know why it keeps muting me, but Will Warren, I thought they would have actually had him start the year in AAA, and then would have called him up when they get through like the days off period. But I think what we're going to see is obviously we just named the locks, but Yoendrys Gomez is making it. They have no options on him, and he's actually hasn't given up a run this spring. De Los Santos, I think, is a lock to make it. And then Hamilton's going to be on the IL. Cousins will be on the IL. Fernando Cruz is probably making it out of necessity, even though he's been terrible this spring.
Brutal.
I don't want to see him on this roster, but if Hamilton was healthy, we wouldn't have to worry about it. And am I missing anybody else? Because, Hill, Cruz, De Los Santos, Gomez, Yarbrough, Williams, Weaver. I'm missing one person, aren't I? So I just counted 7.
Have they made a decision on Leiter yet? What's his
Leiter?
issue?
That's it. Leiter. Mark Leiter is going to be there. So that's the bullpen right there.
And then that leaves 1 spot open. And
No,
that
it's
will
because
be-
they're carrying 5 starters to start the year.
No.
No. Are they going to
open
carry
for-
12 or 13 pitchers to give you an extra bench player?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We go on 1 spot open. That's Peraza. The bubble.
The
Peraza
whole
spot.
roster. I thought you meant for the bullpen.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm talking about the 26-man roster.
Yeah, it's just one spot,
Right, so-
really.
There's just that 1 spot. So it's laughable. The Cashman's like, oh, it felt more uncomfortable if we had another righty bat. And you had literally all of December, all of January,
All of February.
middle of February. Freaking 10 weeks to bring in a righty bat, and you didn't do it. So I don't want to hear about you crying over a righty bat. So
That makes
Imagine if
the
you listened to us and just got Jose Iglesias, and we wouldn't be having these conversations.
Yep. But what
Exactly.
do we know? We just follow them as we probably follow them better than they follow themselves. Like no, that's why you still have either a bullpen arm or a bench player available. That's your 26th spot. So I think we're going to see what. Hopefully obviously they have to make a decision. Before the game on Thursday. But is your bench player going to be? Because my bench right now is Escara, Rice, and Grisham. So if you're going to have a 4th bench player, is it going to be Reyes or Peraza? What is because you're not going to go with 11 pitchers to add another bench player and a bullpen guy.
Well, if the 4-man bench, if they do go 4-man bench, they could carry I don't know if they're allowed to. They might be able to be allowed to carry an extra pitcher at the early set, but it would be Escara, Grisham, Reyes, and Peraza. That's the bench. It's not good.
You could max out at 13 pitches on your 26 man.
Right, so there'd be no sense in you can't carry an extra one, so you're not going to carry one man down. You're going to have to go 13 hitters. So I think unless they add a bat in the next 2 days, or even they got Birdie right before opening day, so maybe there's a John Birdie waiting in the wings for us. Although again, that
Birdie was a really good pickup. I don't think there's anyone with that kind of
it
caliber.
could have been Iglesias.
Considering exactly Iglesias was the no-brainer. Considering the names that have been brought up by Joel Sherman as options the Yankees are looking at, one of them being Andy Ibanez. And that dude doesn't hit. So, what would you say to Andy Ibanez?
I just carry Peraza instead of making a
At
trade.
that point,
Yeah, and I just saw from a comment there, FJ, they were counting on DJ being healthy, and
That's a terrible idea.
yeah. So what they're going to do is they're going to have Peraza and I keep forgetting his name now, Reyes, be there, and then when DJ is eventually healthy, if he's healthy, whoever's struggling out of those guys will be let go. unless they added like JD Martinez, which wouldn't make much sense at this point because he only hit against lefties. It's really figuring out who's DHing against left-handed pitching
Yeah,
because Ben Rice can't hit lefties.
yeah, it's that's the big that's really that's the last question. Because a lot of issues have been addressed this offseason, during the spring. Going into spring training, we thought they were, we went in with a million questions of who was going to be what. But I think the play on the field has kind of ironed out some of those things like they usually do, usually figure it out as you go. If they're going to go with if they're staying with this, this 301 budget and wanted to really let the kids, grow and show what they've been, developed for, maybe Peraza is one of those, you might not have the bat, but maybe against the lefty, you throw him in there.
I want Peraza to be in it over
Yeah.
some of these names that we're being linked with, man. So Andy Ibanez, let's have a quick look at him. Last year, he batted 240 with just 32 RBIs in 99 games. 2023, about 260, which is pretty good. Just 40 RBIs in 114 games. 2022, a miserable year, just 9 RBIs and a 218 batting average. 2021, 277, which is pretty good. But the guy doesn't have any power at all.
No.
So, I mean, that's some name that the Yankees are paying attention to. There's also another couple of ones, which we'll get into. What would you say to Andy Ibanez? What kind of what would he offer the Yankees?
Just a veteran bat, but I like Ken's suggestion of Garrett Hampson because he's been having a good spring. Again, a lot of these guys, though, it's just like, are they better than Peraza? Like, that's the question. Because one thing about Peraza, he's never had a good spring. If you look at his numbers, just go back and look at spring training numbers for Peraza. He's never really hit the ball well. But he's always hit the ball well in AAA. So I think you give him a shot. At this point, unless you make a last-second move, like a Garrett Hampson or an Andy Ibanez, which I don't know how much they offer, because Peraza can at least play 3 different positions and play them well. And he can run the bases and run them well. And if he's hitting just against left-handed pitching, he might be able to find that role as a platoon player. It's not what we envisioned for him, but hey, it's better than him being cast aside and traded for some random arm that nobody knows about, ends up getting DFA later in the season anyway. So I think you roll with that and just see if you have something there in a good platoon between him and Cabrera, or unless they really are done with him and it can get something of certain value for him, like an arm they can stash in AAA, a decent arm that maybe Matt Blake can fix, then maybe you go that route. But none of these names, I like the Hampson suggestion from Ken, though. I'm not too high on Ibanez. Like, if you were telling me they were in on a Willie Castro or Rengifo, 2 names that we've heard about in the past, like, they're not linked to them. So those guys would be like, okay, that's a move I'd go make, and I would move Peraza in another trade or even involve him in that trade. But they're looking for a bench piece. Why not just use Peraza since you don't have any other options? See what you have there. Give him some run against left-handed pitching, and if he's good, great, you've got a platoon. And if he's bad, then you don't really have to worry about it because he's on your bench. And then you worry about it in a couple of months when Mr. 1 Foot eventually makes his grand return.
The other name that the Yankees, according to Joel Sherman, are looking at is Santiago Espinal of the Reds. And this is another guy that just doesn't hit. Pretty much the same kind of year as Ibanez, 45 revs, 651 OPS, 246 batting average, 9 homers. It's almost like Carbon Colby, same year as Ibanez. His career 685 OPS, his career 26 stolen bases, which isn't that much over an entire career. 20 home runs only, 266 batting average. So not much there from Santiago Espinal. What would you say to Santiago Espinal?
Yeah, it all circles back to at this point. You might as like Espinal, Banez. You already have all that wrapped into one with Peraza.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to because what do you do with Peraza? If you get rid of Peraza now, you're not getting anything for him. So you might as well utilize him because you know his strengths. So play him to his strengths and increase his value and see how the season plays out.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah, like what do you have to lose at this point?
Yeah.
Right? What do you have to lose? Like, are we really going to be like DFA? Because these guys are defense only, really, is what you're telling me by their stat lines. Isn't that what Peraza is at this point?
Yep.
And you might have the upside with the bat that the other two don't, because you don't know what Peraza is because they haven't given him a chance. So,
right.
Again, I'm not going to look at his spring numbers and say, oh, he can't do it, because we've seen him have spurts at the major league level. So I think you just roll with Peraza unless there's a move that none of us see coming, like the John Birdie move. Like, again, if Brandon Drury was healthy, that would be the move I'd make, because he was having a great spring. Now he's got a bad thumb. He won't be here. He won't be ready for another couple of months. Perfect
really?
Yankee.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I thought he would have been a perfect choice too, and I was like, oh, good. I'd go get him. And then I heard that he hurt his thumb. I was like, great, he's already a Yankee. So, I don't know I think you just hold Peraza unless there's a move like John Birdie that no one saw coming. I don't know what that move is. Again, if I don't know what's coming, then nobody knows what the move is. But who's out there? Brian Cashman is right.
But Sherman also says that the Yankees are looking at Stuart Fairchild. And that dude has had the worst spring. If you think Perez has had a bad spring, check out
Yeah.
132 batting average, a 417 OPS, 0 home runs. 2024 regular season, 215 batting average, 654 OPS, massively below average, 8 homers, 30 ribs. Nothing happening there either. The reason why I'm looking at their offensive stats is because we actually kind of need an actual bat. That's why I'm looking at a bat. Defense covered at third base with Oswaldo Cabrera. We do. Oswaldo Cabrera is going to give you good defense at third. I'm looking at a little bit of power numbers, especially from the left side, or against lefty bats, and we're not. Those names are not providing that. So I have to say, all those names that Sherman mentioned is incredibly disappointing.
Yeah.
And it goes to show how ridiculous it was that they didn't even bring in anybody at all during the winter. Why wouldn't you? Sign somebody on a minor league deal. Sign someone that is easy to release if it doesn't work out. But just to do nothing and then hope for the best in spring training is malfeasance. There you go. Favorite word.
Yeah. You know who's going to be happy to hear you say that.
There you go. You got it.
Nathan's bringing up Whit Merrifield. If you were commenting that about 5 years ago, you'd have somebody jumping for joy. Yeah, I don't think Whit Merrifield's coming here. The thing is, Cashman's right about one thing. There's not many people available, but that's also on him because he could have made a move a month ago and avoided all of this. Iglesias.
Bringing it up.
De Jong was signed for $1 million. Look at his numbers this spring. The guy's killing it. So, Brendan Donovan's signed for – not Brendan Donovan. Brendan Rodgers signed for a minor league deal. These options were out there, and they passed up on every single one of them. So, yeah, it is on Cashman. Although he is right about it. It is slim pickings. Just stick with Peraza and see what you have. And if he's not good, then – You DFA him and you find a trade partner. I'm sure somebody will take him. Like a team like Miami has no infielders. A team like the Rockies don't really have many infielders. So I would hate to ship him off to one of those teams because it's pretty much no man's land out there. But at least he'd get playing time. I just don't know if any of these options out there are they really better than Peraza. Maybe Hampson because his spring numbers have been pretty good. And he offers versatility and speed, but so does Peraza. So, just see what you have there.
The Yankees are in on him?
No, but I believe, because Ken brought it up in the chat, he did opt out of his deal. So,
Yeah.
no one really heard that the Yankees were linked to Yarborough, and then they just signed him this morning. So,
That's true.
we'll see. We'll see, because
You are right about Brandon Drury. So he was having a monster spring, hitting 410 with an 821 OPS, 3 homers, 11 ribs over just 13 games. So that's awesome. Unfortunately, during training drills where he was playing first base, he collided with a runner and did his thumb in, and he's going to miss the start of the season. So that I think that would have been the guy. Oh, God damn it! Why the White Sox don't play any defense? Why even try? You're going to lose
these
140
players
games
are going to
anyway. Jesus. So
These-
he would have been the guy. He'd have been perfect.
these players are calling the Yankees, going, "Stop mentioning my name. You're going to get me hurt." But I want to bring up this comment real quick from Nathan. Make sure you go, and he gets a lot of amazing promo days with the Woodbridge Brewing Company. So on May 10th, David Wells will be there interacting with fans. And on the 17th, Jason Giambi. So look into getting into attendance for that. The Woodbridge Brewing Company in New Jersey.
Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. May 7th, the Giambino. The Giambino. If y'all weren't blessed enough to see the Giambino live, y'all missed out, because the Giambino was something special, man.
Nathan and his team, they do a phenomenal job putting all these events together. So make sure you go and support Nathan and his team, and get a chance to meet two legends of the Bronx.
Yeah. Anna, what game is that he was on? Was it Triple Play Baseball that he was on the cover of?
I had it. I had that game.
Was it 02 or 03 that he was on the cover of? I think it's Triple Play Baseball, which me and my dad have had some battles in that game, and there was a line that, and I think it was might have been 01. I don't remember, but there's a line where he says, "Oh, Buck, he crushed that," because the announcer's name is
That's
Buck.
right.
My dad always kept saying, "Why is he cursing in this game?" He was saying Buck, and my dad kept thinking it was the F word. But that was we've had some battles in that game. Triple Play Baseball. That is a throwback right there.
That was great. Now, Triple Play Baseball 2000 was Sammy Sosa. So which one was the Giambino? It must have been the year after, right?
I would like to think it was when he was either when he first went to the Yankees or like his final year in Oakland.
Right. Let's see here. 2002. That was actually Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Let's see, 2001. It was the Giambino 2001. Triple Play Baseball 2001. Good job. Okay. I had that game. I loved that game.
those are fun times back in the day. Any old baseball games, that they don't make them like they used to. I'll tell you that much.
No, they don't. And I do remember that old Bucky crushed that. I was like,
yeah, at first you're like, hold on. Even when I was a kid, I would be like, hey, is he allowed to say that?
I want to swing back to the rotation real quick. My theory on Stroman with the 5 spot to limit his innings. How do you think that strategy works in your point of view?
They've already announced that he's going to be starting the 3rd game, though.
They did? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be Rodon, Fried, Stroman, Warren, and then Carrasco might start the 5th, 6th, or 7th game. Because, again, they have days off. So they play Thursday, off Friday, which is stupid. They play Saturday, Sunday, then I think they're off Monday. And then they play like a bunch of games in a row. So because of those 2 days off, they could give Rodon 2 starts in that. Fried will get his usual reps, but I think because of the days off, Rodon could technically start 2 games before Carrasco gets a start. Although, I wouldn't want to break Carrasco's rhythm because he's been pitching really well. So I think you just go traditional 5-man rotation, and Rodon can use the extra day, if let's be honest. I would like for him to stay as fresh as he possibly can. And in terms of Stroman's innings, I don't think you can afford to play that game. If he's good, it's a big if with him, because that second half collapse happens every year. But if he is good and he avoids that major collapse, if he's just serviceable in the second half, are we really going to be mad that we're going to have him for one more year if we have a good starting pitcher? Because if this year taught us anything, you really can never have too much starting pitching, because he went from the 6 starter to the 3 starter in the blink of an eye. You kind of need him right now. So I don't really care if he's pitching well and he hits 140 innings. Fuck it. Keep him. And maybe you look to trade him next year. And I'm sure some team will take a chance on him for one season and not worrying about that option. But you worry about that next year. You worry about next year. You need him to be good. And if he's good and he hits that 140 innings while having a middle 3 ERA, you're not going to hear me complain about him at all. Smile all you want. Take as many pictures of yourself in your boxers, as many as you want. If you're pitching,
I don't know about that.
I don't know why, but that's what he's putting on social media. I wasn't asking to see it, but you go on Instagram and I see Mark anyway. If he's pitching well, he can do whatever the hell he wants as long as he's performing out there on the field. I'll take it. I'm not going to worry about his innings limit if he's doing good. If he stinks, then you send him to the bullpen, do whatever you want, get Heel back midseason, and you won't have to worry about him. But Yankees need him to be good. If he's good, you got yeah. Don't go on it. I followed Marcus Stroman for baseball reasons, and
that's a mistake.
You got everything but.
I got everything but.
That's on you, my brother.
I got everything but baseball on his Instagram.
But you know what? In fairness, right? I didn't understand why the Yankees were so desperate to trade him. Now, I'm not a fan of his. I didn't want the signing. I didn't think it was a good signing. I thought it was a terrible contract. Yeah. And I thought that he gave you exactly what I was expecting that he was going to give us. But you can never have enough pitching depth. And so the idea that Hal Steinbrenner held Brian Cashman hostage to that contract, saying you can't add any more money to the salary, to our salary cap, our self-imposed salary cap over Marcus Stroman, I thought was always ludicrous. You can't have enough depth because arms go down, and you got a pretty quality fifth starter, despite all of his issues. And Tats, you had that point. You were like, what's the point in trading Stroman just to trade him? What was what do you really gain out of that? And you know what? You're right. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you can't.
Can you repeat that for the people in the back?
Exactly. You're right, though. But that was it. I never understood it. I mean, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense, a whole heap of sense that Hal Steinbrenner made that kind of demand that you had to trade him in order if you're going to add any more payroll. Just kind of seemed a little bit pointless. What are you going to do? You're going to get rid of Stroman, and you're going to try and add another arm who's as good as Stroman anyway, just on a cheaper deal, because you're going to need arms, because arms go down. This is the era of Tommy John surgery. We've already suffered it. So I always thought it was just pointless to trade just for the sake of trading. So
yeah, it's not like you were going to dump that $18.5 million to throw at an ace. You was going
to suddenly magically appear.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, you're a fucking worldly bat isn't going to suddenly appear for $18 million. It just seemed pointless at that trade at that stage. If you're going to make that trade, you make it in the winter, early in the winter.
Or the trade deadline.
Before your owner held you hostage for 301, that was the time to trade him back in December, early December. Before it was made obvious to the entire world that you were trying to move him. That was the time to move him. So doing it in February just for the sake of doing it made absolutely no sense. So here we are. Once again, we were right. And once again, the Yankees look dumb. So anyway, this looks like the wise thing to do. You have Stroman as a fifth starter. He's a fine fifth starter.
Just right now he's the third because of the injuries, but he just has to be good. He doesn't have to be an ace. He doesn't have to be a number 2. Just keep us in games. Like his first 2 months. I don't even want to say first half, but first 2 months of the season last year, he was phenomenal, and then fell off a cliff. If he can avoid that dramatic drop off, because it wasn't even that bad the year before he got hurt, And yeah, Anna, it is confirmed. It's a 1 year, $2 million deal with $500,000 in incentives. That is from Jorge Castillo. Confirmed. So they had $2 million to throw at Yarborough. They didn't have $1 million or a minor league deal to throw at Iglesias, but budget. Anyway, yeah, Stroman just needs to be serviceable. That's it. Just be good. Just be solid. 18.5 million. I'm not asking you to have an ERA in the low twos. Just
take the ball every fifth. Every time.
For his ERA, he was only in the mid threes last year. He had a
he was good.
He was good, and he's going to give you versatility. He's going to eat a lot of innings. He's your perfect middle reliever.
Yep.
And he could probably pitch in some high leverage spots as well. I think that was actually a really, really good deal, to be fair. And I'm happy about that one. That's a good one. That made sense. It's good to see that the Yankees still are doing something. I think that's the first move that the Yankees have realistically made since the middle of December.
Yeah, and Yarborough, he came up through the Rays organization. I mean, you know how that organization just pumps out pitches like a factory. So he is a player that I think he's going to be fine. It's not like he's coming in to save the bullpen. He's just coming in to kind of highlight the bullpen and just be kind of like that accent piece in games. With Stroman, look, he was a big factor of why we got off to the start that we did last year. So his first half, Stroman's, he's going to take the ball. I think that's the biggest thing. And like Rob said earlier, worry about the money next year. Let's just survive this season. If he's really pitching that good, and there's a team that offers you at the deadline a trade that you can't deny, you have to take or listen to, then you worry about it then. But let's Stroman get us through waiting for Schmidt and Heel, and see where what our position is when the time comes. If he's really pitching that well, then you ride it out. That's what and that's why I was saying, this offseason. Like, why are we all getting ready to rush Stroman out of the building? We don't know what's going to happen. It says the Yankees have, history of bad spring trainings. I think this one, injury-wise, was probably the worst. But, that's a debate we could have. Was this the worst offseason we've had, injury-wise, as far as the caliber of players? Probably. I can't think of another one even worse.
I mean, Cole, Heel, Stanton, Efros, Brubaker, Chase Hampton, Jake Cousins, Loizaga.
The list goes on and on.
Am I missing Clark Schmidt? Am I missing anybody else?
That's actually like a quality roster. Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like a fantastic major league roster of talent.
2023 was pretty rough because we lost like the entire rotation that year because Rodon got hurt, Montas shockingly got hurt, and we lost somebody else. So we had to use like Vasquez and Brito made the team that year. And Domingo Herman was giving us quality innings. Did he pitch a perfect game that season? Was that 23?
Domingo? Yeah.
Yeah. Before he went AWOL and throw shit around the locker room. But, yeah. I don't know. This is a rough spring, and yet I still feel relatively well about the backups that we've had in place because a lot of our in-house options have performed. Will Warren, phenomenal spring. He had one rough outing the other day, but overall, really good numbers. Carrasco is better than anyone could have anticipated. He had a fantastic spring. Yeri De Los Santos put together a really good spring, as did Wilking Rodriguez, who was pumping gas and throwing to like a 1 ERA. So there's another option we have in the minor leagues. Ben Rice, Austin Wells, Cabrera had a good spring. Pablo Reyes came out of nowhere. So some guys did step up, and that's what spring is used for, to fill out some roster spots and win some position battles. I think overall it could have been a lot worse because a lot of these in-house options could have been bad. Like Ben Rice could have been having weak roundouts, but he's been killing the ball. I think Ken brought it up early. He's like one of the top exit velos in all of spring. Austin Wells is tied for the league lead in home runs for the spring. So it's kind of gone pretty well, and Anthony Volpe seems to be getting hot at the right time. towards the end of spring, he's been killing the ball again. So the in-house options are working, and considering all the injuries we've had, I don't feel like the season's over by any means. I'm still excited to see what these guys can do, and I still think this team can be very, very good and competitive. Obviously, with Garrett Cole and Stanton, we'd be better, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more, sure, getting another bat, but at least on the pitching side, I think they've done everything they could to have contingency plans in place. You can't really game plan for losing Garrett Cole, but they did sign Max Fried. Thank God we have him because we still have an ace in this rotation. So I'm excited. I think that they've done really well on the pitching side, but still not going to get over the fact that they had multiple chances to add another bat, and they're still looking for one.
Now,
saying here the Yankees apparently had a deal in place for Trevor Bauer until he backed out. Do we buy that?
I'm not doing this again with
No.
Trevor Bauer.
I don't. Anything that comes out of him, if he's claiming it, I don't believe it. Plain and simple.
I'll say this one more time about Trevor Bauer. I don't know whether it's true or not. No, I don't know the allegations are true or not. That's not the debate here. Any team that signs him is putting themselves in for a whirlwind of media nonsense. He's got a fun YouTube channel. He's pitching in Japan again this year. That was a really cool thing he's done on his channel, was taking you through the ins and outs of Japanese baseball. That's probably what's best for him at this point. Any team that brings him in is bringing on a whirlwind of media nonsense, even if it's a team like Colorado. Why'd you sign Bauer knowing the allegations behind him? No team wants that, especially with the season starting. I said this last year, and now it would make more sense to sign him this year, and still the Yankees probably wouldn't want that media nonsense going around. So unfortunately for him, whether he's guilty or not, it's probably not going to happen for him at Major League Baseball anymore. And that's because of the media. It's not, he can be absolved of everything, but you know damn well the second he signs somewhere, there's going to be questions like, how did the case go? Do you have any more court cases? What happens if he has to miss a day for court? And the teams are going to be like, why did we sign this guy? So he might be best off pitching in Mexico or Japan like he did last year. He pitched in Japan 2 years ago. So it sucks. I get it. You don't know whether it's true or not. And if it's not true and he got all those allegations towards him, his career may have been ruined, but he seems to be doing pretty well for himself. His YouTube channel's kicking off really well. He's almost at 1 million subscribers, and he's very popular in Japan. So, hey, maybe he's got a future pitching there for the next few years. All the power to him. I just don't think it's going to happen in Major League Baseball anymore.
Yeah, it's like I said last year. You think of the time removed from the game and the advancement of the pitches. The pitches, the batters are getting younger. They're catching up to the exit. The pitching velos a lot better now. Now you're going to take another year away from Major League competition and insert him into a lineup, a rotation. I think he's going to play well. No, I'm just talking from the baseball aspect of it, not the personal aspect. Just the competition is not what it was when he last pitched. I'm not taking that gamble.
So, on other news, the Yankees fully believe that Cody Bellinger is going to have a monster year this year. The things that all their metrics and the things that they're seeing behind the scenes, the swing profile, they're seeing him to be actually closer to his MVP Cody Bellinger than the Cody Bellinger we saw last year. So they're very, very high on him and think he's going to just blossom as a Yankee. Do you guys agree?
I'm very excited for Cody Bellinger. I think him and Goldschmidt, they both profile so well at Yankee Stadium. That's why I'm still very excited. I mean, I wasn't too high on the Goldschmidt signing, but I think he'll have a good year. But Bellinger, I think, is going to have a fantastic season. Will he be MVP Bellinger? Probably not, because that was 5-6 years ago. But if he can be closer to 2023 Cody Bellinger, the Yankees' top 5 in the lineup is going to be very, very good. Bellinger hitting third behind Judge, I would have preferred he hit second, but if he's hitting like 2023 Bellinger behind Aaron Judge, that 2-3 is going to be monster. And if we can get good numbers from Goldschmidt and you got Jazz batting fifth, I think the top 5 can be very good. He's an X factor for me. Cody Bellinger, with the short porch for 81 games, he should get closer to 30. Because last year I think he had 17 home runs. He could have a really, really good season. And so far he's killing the ball in spring. I think it's a good sign. I really do like what he brings to the table here. And I think it may be one of the better trades that Cashman has made if it works out the way I anticipate it will. His swing projects so well at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, no issues with Bellinger. He's going to be fine. I agree. I can't. If I would just be repeating what Rob said, but I have no issues with Bellinger. I'm glad he's here.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the source is actually John Heyman himself. He says he's been talking to Yankee people, and some Yankee people are even predicting that he's going to have a massive year. Now, I don't know whether those people are just trying to put it out there in order to make the Yankees look more interesting. Could be, but he does look really good, and I'm pretty excited about what he's providing. I always thought it was a good deal. I always thought it was a smart pickup. I've been very impressed by his spring, and it does look like he's more on it. And I think I think putting the Yankee pinstripes is going to help him massively. And I think I might change him in order for him to emulate his dad. I think he's going to want to put on a show this year. So I think that was a pretty good signing. Goldschmidt looks okay too. So we'll see. Still don't have any other power from the right side. And on that note, Big G, Cashman says that they're not expecting Stanton anytime in the near future. Probably
the surgery.
They're hoping maybe tail end of the year.
What are we doing here?
I mean, it's a total joke, man. It's a total joke, absolute joke. I don't know what they were doing over the winter. I mean, what kind of a plan was that? If the dude was like, "I'm really hurt right through October," and you're like, "Oh well, have a great winter." See you in February.
Hey guys, can't pick up a bat right now. All right, don't worry, we'll get you back in June. Hey guys,
we'll call you tomorrow. See how you feel.
Still can't pick up a bat, by the way. All right, we'll see you in September. Hey guys, my calf's acting up. Don't worry, we'll see you in October. It's like, just fucking have the surgery. Let him be 100% healthy for next year. He's not going to be a factor this year. What do you think you're going to get in September from Giancarlo Stanton? If he's out for 5 months and he doesn't play until September, you're not going to get much of anything. Just let him get the surgery. Bring in a JD Martinez if you have to, or that might be your best option. Get some thump from the right side because you need it. Have him DH against lefties. You keep Ben Rice against righties, and you have a better lineup because of it. Relying on Stanton to come back at this stage where he still can't do baseball activities, he can barely even run because of the calf. So it's like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? I'm going to steal your word. Malfeasance. There you go, Sunil. I know you've been asking for it, you freak. So just let him get the surgery.
Clowns.
Look, it's a lost year. Look, we're already down Cole. Why not just go down Stanton and just get ready for next year?
But it's not a lost year, though. That's the thing. You
can
can
save
it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're gonna miss 5 months, you might as well just take the year off and really get right, because they never handle his injuries anyway. Is when he does come back from it. Well, history shows when he comes back from an injury, he always goes into those slumps right away. It takes him a while to warm up.
2-3 weeks.
So
they admit it themselves.
How much patience are you gonna have if he comes back in September to be able to be? I don't think it serves a purpose for him to play this year.
It doesn't. The only thing it would hurt him is his quest to hit 500 home runs, which he's not going to pick up the bat anyway, so he's probably not going to get there. It stinks because I wish he would get to that number, but someone tell me, because I don't know, what the hell do you expect to get out of Giancarlo Stanton with two with seriously injured elbows, as they said. It's serious pain, and now you got this calf issue. What do you think you're going to get out of him? A home run in September? Like, he's back, and then he's going to probably get hurt again because he's going to swing too hard and pull his hips. So it's like, you can't put that on the body. If he's playing with badly injured elbows and he's able to pick up a bat in July, August, let's just say for the sake of argument, he's going to end up getting hurt again. That's just unfortunately how it's been for him. Give him the surgery.
A couple of weeks ago, didn't we hear that the Yankees were penciling him in for after Memorial Day?
That was ridiculous.
We brought that up the other day and just kind of laughed it off.
Exactly, because the guy says that because the article before that said that he couldn't pick up everyday items, and now he's going to hit a fastball 100 miles an hour with a 140 mile an hour exit velo over the fucking park. Yeah, I doubt that. I'd love that to happen, but I think I was always optimistic. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't know what they were doing. I think the medical staff are complete clowns, and I think our front office completely failed us. And I'll stand by that. And I'm now feeling extremely sad because I just came across a photo from 7 minutes ago of Aaron Boone giving Juan Soto a hug because it's Juan Soto's return. And I'm going to go and cry for the rest of the day. So you will not find me on Twitter. I'm going to be crying with my Juan Soto jersey.
You want to feel even worse? Did you see I forgot what's her name? Madison was doing like interviews at the Fanatics event with some Yankee players, and she was asking who's one player from any New York team that you would
Soto?
No, most of them said Knicks players, but Anthony Volpe was like Juan Soto. He was the only one that actually answered a baseball player. Everyone was like Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and he was like Juan Soto. So
no.
Yeah, it make you feel even worse on this Monday morning.
Look, what about this whole? Right. We'll talk about this real quick before we sign off because Donald's going to have a mental breakdown.
I will.
What about this?
That's a Rob Soma mental breakdown
why...
when I heard that he moved to the Mets. Remember, I broke my rib.
Yeah. You were, yeah.
You guys don't want to see that.
I think it's still under repair. This whole bullshit with, I went over there because the Yankees don't have a plan 5-6 years down the road. Like, what team has a plan that far ahead? Like, just tell us that you went there for the money. That's it. We've already accepted that factor.
I disagree, man. I think it was family.
At this point, it could have been a lot of things, but you can't tell. You don't even know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now.
Yeah.
So how the hell are you supposed to know what's going to happen 5 years from now? I think he's trying to spin, because obviously he didn't want to. I don't think he wanted to leave necessarily, but he was given a king's ransom to go stay in New York and play with a team that does have a pretty bright future. I can't blame him for that. It's not like the Yankees offered him $200 million less. They were right there, but it's like, hey, we'll give you the suite. We'll give you the performance bonuses. We'll give you a chance to make even more money per year. Not a lot of people are going to pass that up. You're set up for life, and your future of your family is set up for life with that deal, and you get to stay in New York, and the opportunities that come along with that, with endorsements. I don't think he wanted to leave. A lot of people are trying to paint him as the villain, like, oh, screw him, he's lying.
He said the Yankees were number one.
Exactly. He never wanted to leave, but I can't blame him for leaving. But I just think at this point, we got to leave it in the past. If he's going to hit a home run today, probably. But you know what? And they'll be like, what could have been? It's unfortunate. Trust me, I wish he was still a Yankee. There's not a day goes by that I don't look in my closet and see my Soto jersey and go, but he's a Met. And we can't change that. So I know it's going to be a season-long thing when he hits, when he has a 420 on base and he's got 30 home runs and people are going to be like, could have had that. He was going to take that Mets deal as long as they outbid the Yankees. It's just,
so from what I understand from Michael Kay says that Soto actually wanted to be going back to the Yankees, but it was actually his family that were pushing for him to go to the Mets. The Mets, and so my personal opinion is obviously the money is a big factor, but the money was always never going to be a question. The Mets were always going to outbid the Yankees. They always were. So that's why I kind of take it out of it a little bit. What I'm going to go with is I'm going to give Uncle Steve a lot of credit because he did what smart businessmen do. If you're competing with a client, right, you have intel as to what your opposition party who's trying to get that client, you try to find the weakness in that spot and play on it. And that's what Steve Cohen did. And I give Steve Cohen a ton of credit because he's just like, oh, I heard about that security guy. Oh, we're going to go. And then they really push that family thing. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. We'll give your mom a fucking makeover. We'll go, you know what I'm saying? And it was that. They really pushed that family thing. And that was one thing that the Yankees kind of had a little bit of a weakness on with that whole security shit and other aspects, because it is true they are very militaristic, the Yankee security, and they really pushed that angle, right? And then Steve Cohen probably boosted up how, wow, we are the family organization, and that's kind of what helped push them over the edge. So then the family kind of went to Soto and were like, we kind of like this, and I really think that it was kind of a 1A, 1B scenario where Soto was more than happy to go to the Mets. But he also, I think he really liked being a Yankee too. So I don't think he was that bothered either way. So went with the thing. But I even read that Boris recommended the Yankees. So it was, I think it was really just really the family thing, man. And that's what did it. I mean, one thing everyone's saying, "Oh, Soto's a liar. Soto's a liar." To be fair, has Soto lied the entire year before? No,
No,
he never
he
did.
made
Man.
no commitments
He
to
was
anybody.
always very, very honest. He always said that he's going to give every team an opportunity. They can't wait to test free agency.
Yep.
He never lied about that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to suddenly think that he's lying now. He said it was a lot of it to do with the family. So, right. Well, it is what it is. Other people are closer to family than others. So maybe no other people can understand. I understand. And so it is what it is. So actually, you know what? I give the Mets credit and I give Cohen credit because they just did a better job of landing him.
They did. That's it.
That's
No,
it.
and that was, after, we had our couple of shows where we did our ranting and all of that, we came back to earth and said, look,
Yep.
The better owner won the deal.
Exactly.
The more committed owner won the deal. It is
Well
what it
said.
is. And like Jonathan says, it's in the past. It's time to move on.
Yeah, you're right. And Tats, you were right. The better owner, the more committed owner won the deal. And it's as simple as that.
And it's not that, not that Steinbrenner laid down and says, I'm not going over the, like he was up there with the price.
Yeah.
So it's not like we could say he was cheap about it.
You don't offer $700 and something million for one player and be like, that guy's cheap. Like, come on.
Yeah, right. That's all you gave him? Yeah, I mean, come on. Let's be real.
Why not 800? Like, it's come on.
I could argue that Hal's comparatively cheap, but he's not cheap. But comparatively cheap in regards to owning the Yankees. He's fairly cheap, but with that negotiation, I think the Yankees offered more than enough. In fact, probably offered more than I was comfortable with myself. But I'm a big Soto guy, so I don't have any complaints about the way that the Yankees handled the negotiation. I just think the Mets were a little better.
They were more creative.
That's it.
They were more pandering to what he wanted, what his family wanted.
Right.
It is what it is. Like I said, we could go, we could go rehash every emotion that we went through this off season with what happened, but it's done. It is what it is. We still got a season to play. So with that, when we are back on Wednesday, we will be talking more about the season to come as Thursday is opening day. What are our predictions for the players for the season? Is there an MVP? Who's going to make who's predictions of, who's going to be that all-star caliber that we're not expecting to get to that level? So we're going to do some of our season predictions on Wednesday. So make sure you tune in for that at 10 a.m. So hit that sub button so you can join the discussion, because we were doing most of the show giving ours and then also throwing up your predictions as well. So it's going to be a very interactive show on Wednesday. So make sure you tune in for that. So with that, make sure you hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out, your friends, your family, the stranger on the corner. This is the Pitch Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats. I've been here with Rob, Donald, and you wonderful people. So make sure you make sure you wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.
Hit those pinstripes with pride.